I am so excited about today's show because not only is the topic very interesting and maybe even a little controversial, but I have with me the top expert on this topic. So you don't want to miss this show right here on Faith on Film. Welcome to Faith on Film. As I said on the teaser, I'm very excited about today's show. Not only because the topic is to me of such importance and perhaps even a little bit controversial, but because my guest today is the top, I'm going to call him the guru of media. He would be like the top expert on the subject. So listen, we're just going to get right into it here. Phil Cooke has produced TV and film programming in more than 60 countries around the world, and in the process has been shot at, survived 2 military coups, fallen out of a helicopter, and in Africa been threatened with prison. And those were his good days, by the way.
Yeah, good days.
Yeah. During that time, though, through his company, Cooke Media Group in Burbank, California, he's helped some of the largest Christian and nonprofit organizations in the world use the media to tell their story in a changing, disrupted culture. His book, Jolt, Get the Jump on a World That's Constantly Changing, shares the secrets of making today's culture of disruption and change work for you. Phil, welcome to Faith on Film.
Thank you very much, Isaac. I'm thrilled to be here. This is fun.
Hey, you know what? I've been doing this now for a couple months, and it's a lot of work, but I'm really enjoying it, and I'm just excited at where the program itself has been going. I hope it's making an impact, actually. But
you're
listen,
doing a great job.
Thank you. Normally I have my guests kind of share a little bit about how their journey, how they got into Christian films. But I think today I want to jump right in and go into the subject itself. And here's the reason I wanted to do this show. About a couple of months ago, you reposted a blog that you had done back in 2011, and you reposted it again. And so I shared it on my Facebook page and was just amazed at the amount of engagement that it got, and people really got into the discussion, both some agreeing with you, some disagreeing with you, but either way, it caused a great conversation that was started. And so I thought, man, I really need to bring this subject out. Now, I'll just say what the topic was, and then I'm just going to let you take over and let us know what it was that you thought there. All right, so that way they'll blame you for this. The topic or the title was, "Is this why so many Christian movies fail?" Oh boy. Take it away, my friend.
Well, I wrote the post back in 2011 because I read a study from Stanford, actually, that talked about just how much tragedy plays a role in people's lives, and people gravitate toward negative news. And it wasn't wasn't about fake news and things like that. It was really about the fact that tragedy and negative, bad news is very, very meaningful for people. And it really makes sense when you look at the history of theater, when you look at the history of film. I mean, Shakespeare's Hamlet didn't end well at all, and yet people have been drawn to that for hundreds and hundreds of years, and it's just been incredibly mesmerizing play. And so often in the secular movie world, the most popular movies are movies that don't end well, because the truth is most people don't end well. In fact, I think if you did a survey of biblical characters, most biblical characters did not end well. That's true. So I just wondered, it made me think, so many Christians have this idea that if I'm going to make a movie or a television program or even a short video, it needs to be positive. It needs to be about good news. We always complain about the negative news we see on TV, or the negative movies, the negative stories, the negative reporting. And so many Christians come to me, certainly, and think, Phil, if I do something, I'm going to be positive. And what's funny is Christians have tried to launch positive Christian networks. They've tried to launch positive Christian perspectives on news. They never seem to work. And I really do think tragedy has a place in life. And look at the life of the apostles, that most of them did not end well. And so there's a place for tragedy out there. And I just think if more Christians engage with the idea of a negative ending, a tragic ending, maybe they would actually embrace and connect with audiences in a much better way.
Well, so you're saying that it isn't just about showing say the struggle that the main character, let's say, would be going through, but Christian movies tend to make that character then end up like in a happy place?
Yeah, well, it's interesting. You hit on a good point. One of the issues I have with a lot of Christians who make films is before you show how far God took a person, or before you show their overcoming or their triumph, you need to show where they came from. And so often, Christian filmmakers gloss over just how horrible it was. For instance, if you lived a life, if you were sex trafficked, that is a brutally horrid thing. We did a short series of short documentaries on sex trafficking in Eastern Europe a number of years ago, and I can tell you from a firsthand look, that's horrible, horrible stuff. But I'm afraid most Christians wouldn't see it, or they wouldn't watch it, or most people wouldn't consider that a Christian film. And yet, if God rescued someone from that, I think to show you just how significant that was and how far they've come, to not show. And again, it's not about being gratuitous, violence or sexuality. It's not about being gratuitous. But I do think we need to get more serious as Christians who are making films with the reality of what the world is really like.
Right. I have a lot of Christian filmmakers that are good friends of mine, but there's this one particular one that their films. I always used to tell them, the worst person in your film is better than most Christians I know.
That's a great line.
Yeah, it was just amazing that all his films, everybody just seemed nice. Even the bad guy just seemed like a nice guy, and it does kind of make it a little flat, just not as dramatic. And I think Isaac too, it makes for really shallow characters. Right.
It makes for really shallow environments and cultures and thinking. So I think as Christians, we ought to be the guys that are more willing to embrace reality than anyone else. I think of all people, we should be able to say, look, this is how far the world has fallen, and this is what we have to do to rescue that world, and be real. I just think, I'll tell you this, I talk to a lot of younger people, I have for many, many years, and I think one of the biggest pushbacks I get to Christian films is not necessarily their quality, because now people are making better quality films. Right. They're making them with better actors, but the pushback today is they just don't feel authentic. They don't seem real. And I do think that if Christians gave their films and television efforts a little more gritty, authentic reality, it would really connect with people in a much more effective way.
Right. Well, we're going to take a quick little break right now, and then when we come back, let's see if we can find out how we can fix this. Now, I know that a lot of it has to do with the marketing in terms of the films failing, but as we're talking right now about the stories themselves, is it the Christian audience that's kind of dictating how we create those stories, or are we just assuming that that's what they want to see? So, folks, don't go away. We're going to be right back.
Have you ever considered being an actor or director of a major feature film? Sounds crazy, right? But what if God is calling you to do just that? To use your gift in a non-traditional way, like redemptive filmmaking. Let this be your pulpit. So what are you waiting for? Call now. This could be the spark that ignites your ministry.
Christian filmmaking. Our operators are standing by right now. 469-655-3222. Remember to visit our website at www.transformfilm.com.
And you learn filmmaking on 2 backlots, a first-century backlot and a small-town backlot under the watchful eyes of Christian professional filmmakers and university film school professors like Dr. Mark Kuchin. So what are you waiting for?
469-655-3222. Transformation Film Institute, a place where passion meets purpose.
This summer, come to Orlando and bring your family to the Holy Land experience, where the true heroes live. See with your own eyes the stories of the Bible come to life as you have never seen them before. Through breathtaking live stage musical productions, you and your family will encounter the true heroes of our history. moments this summer at Orlando's premier family vacation destination, the Holy Land Experience, where the true heroes live.
Welcome back to Faith on Film. We're here with my friend Phil Cooke, who again is an expert on the subject we're talking about, which is why are Christian films failing, and he knows all about why they are. So, Phil, we kind of dealt a little bit with how these films are just too one-dimensional, let's say.
Yeah.
And yet, to be honest with you, the Bible, man, that is full of tragedy. I've always felt like if we actually filmed the entire Bible, we'd probably have to rated X.
Oh, well, just try to film the scene where David delivers, 2,000 Philistine foreskins to King Saul. That's going to be a tough thing to shoot and film. So the Bible doesn't hold back at all.
Right.
In fact, I have a friend here in Hollywood who's a very successful director. He's a Christian, and he believes Christians, he's so into this conversation, he believes Christians should be doing horror movies. He said, it's really funny that horror, but listen, hear me out here. Horror, he feels like, is a very moral universe. You know who the good guys are. You know who the bad guys are. In most films today, that's a gray area. You have these mixed characters that you really don't know who's good or bad. And in horror, those moral lines are very clear. Now, sure, there's a lot of blood and guts thrown in, but the bad guy always gets what's coming to him at the end. And so what's interesting about that is there are Christians having some really deep conversations about this very subject, because I think it's so vitally important to whether or not we're going to break through and actually engage the culture today.
Well, it's interesting you say that, because last year I was at a film festival and I was part of a panel, and all of a sudden, just for some strange reason, I don't even know why, I said, you know what some of you producers might want to consider is creating Christian horror films. And I got to tell you, the moderator looked at me like I was absolutely nuts. I felt silence, in the group there. But at the end of the session, somebody came up to me and said, "You know what? I'm so glad you say that, because I just finished producing a Christian zombie movie." And I thought, you've got to be kidding me. I said, "You've got to send me that movie. Let me check it out." He sent me the movie, and it was an allegory of the plan of salvation. You could see it very clearly. As a Christian, you could see it. I don't know if the non-Christian would get it, but it certainly would be planted in his in his soul that the concept was that the zombies were actually infected with a virus that caused their brains, if you will, to die, and they became flesh-eating humans. But they had found the antidote in the blood of one man. They had discovered it, and so they could inject these people with that blood, and suddenly they would come back to life. Just very, very interesting. But I agree with you. I think maybe we should start getting a little bit deeper into the. I know some people don't want to call it horror. Maybe we should call it suspense or thriller. I don't know, but.
But it's funny. The same people that criticize Christians for making horror will watch Walking Dead on TV. It's just time we started living what we talk about and really exploring these issues on a deeper level. I think it's important, which is why your podcast, I think, is so important.
Well, and that's what I want to do, is bring awareness to and kind of a connection between the filmmakers and the film watchers. Because do you think they're kind of the problem as well? I mean, if they're not going to buy these movies because they're not Christian enough, whatever that means, is that kind of what's also creating this problem?
It's interesting that in the Middle Ages and the Renaissance, patrons were a big thing. You remember Michelangelo had a patron to paint the Sistine Chapel. People would get patrons to create a great statue or do a portrait. And I think we've lost, as Christians in the 21st century, we've lost the idea of patronage, the idea that we need to support creative artists who are out there pushing the boundaries, trying to make their work. Mm-hmm. And so I think one of the greatest problems I see is Christians simply don't go to see Christian films. We don't support it. We don't take the chance on it. And I think that until we realize that, and patronage isn't just about being a rich guy giving an artist $1 million. Patronage just means supporting it, finding a young filmmaker and giving him an apartment to live in, or helping support him in some other way. Just be encouraging, maybe pay for his, a year of schooling or something, or just attending a film or an art show or buying a book. being patrons is supporting Christians who are actually out there on the front lines of the art world, creating work that matters. So I do think that one of the greatest problems we face today is Christians simply do not support Christian film. And I've seen it time and time again. When a good film is out there in the marketplace, in the theater, we just stay at home. So we've got to get serious as audience members, I think, about supporting these filmmakers if we're going to really make an impact.
Yeah, and you know what? If you're watching the program today, I want you to write me in. Tell me what you think. Tell me what you think, not only about today's program, but and the subject. But let me know your ideas, maybe your thoughts. Maybe you just want to know about some of the films that are out there that you could be a patron to. You could either even just praying for them, I think, would be a big help. So just write me at faithonfilmtv@gmail.com. And you can write Phil as well. You'll find out more at the end of the program about how you can reach directly to him as well. We're going to take another break, Phil, and then I want to come back because some of the things that some of the folks that commented on the blog said were kind of almost sad to me. You say that Christians don't support films. There was one person that wrote, she's a Christian. She was raised in a Christian home. Her husband went to seminary. They homeschooled their kids. I mean, you're talking about that super Christian family, if you will. But she said, I've never seen or taken my kids to see a Christian film. And I thought, wow, that's pretty sad. On the other hand, somebody commented that if we support these Christian films that are so, like I said, there's no real human drama there. Are we just telling the filmmakers keep making these kind of films? So it's kind of an interesting way of how do we fix this problem? So we're going to come back, folks, and we're going to discuss this a little bit more. So don't go away.
Cell reproduction, more than duplication. It's careful selection and organization, ensuring the perfect balance for development and growth. Powerful, so is our programming. Parables, the leader in empowering entertainment. Parables. Be empowered. Start your free trial today.
Sight and Sound Theaters invites you to experience one of the most powerful Bible stories ever told.
Samson, you're going to deliver our people from the Philistines.
God gave him the strength to fight thousands.
Where does he get his strength from? Nobody's that strong.
But his greatest challenge will be living with his own choices.
Who are you?
Delilah.
We want you to find out the secret of his strength.
We will destroy Samson.
Playing in Branson for one last encore season. Get ready for a mighty adventure for the whole family.
You are my rock and my strength. Be with me today.
Samson, live on stage at Sight and Sound Theaters in Branson, Missouri.
I wonder how long a dolphin lives. I wonder if they can make cookies in space. I wonder when people started brushing their teeth.
I wonder if people and dinosaurs ever lived together.
Want to find out?
I wonder how much a cloud weighs.
Welcome back to Faith on Film. Man, the time just flies on this show, especially with such an interesting subject, an interesting topic here. So, Phil, let's wrap this up. We got like 4 minutes left, and I want to really get to if there's a way that we can really fix this, if you will. Now, one of the things that again really saddened me was Christians, and I actually know somebody here too that said, "Oh, I've never watched a Christian movie." Is that how we're going to fix the problem? Is just get people to say, "Okay, I'm going to support what movies are coming out"?
You know, it's interesting. I was on Netflix the other day looking around, and percentage-wise, there's at least as many bad secular films as there are bad Christian films. There's, so it's not an issue that Christian films are bad and secular films are good. There's some horrible, just badly acted, badly produced, badly directed secular films out there. So I don't want to give the impression that Christian films are bad. Yeah. I think by going to see a film, even if it's not a great film, you're trying to encourage that guy. You're trying to say, look, this is a pathway forward. And I know people that every time they do a film, they get better. I mean, they're not going to get better if every film fails. You just can't. You're not going to make your next film if your film fails. So that doesn't teach them anything anyway. So it doesn't mean we go out and support what we know is a stupid, or a poorly made film, but give them some space. Give these young filmmakers some opportunity. Give them a wide berth. Let them make some mistakes and grow. And as they do, their films are going to get better and better. I'm telling you, you never know who the next young genius is going to be out there. You never know who that's going to be. So I would advocate for going overboard to try to encourage people, to try to help them do better. It's funny. I have a blog at philcooke.com, and I write about these kind of issues. And I'm not Mr. Encouragement. I'm trying to tell the truth and really be a coach for a lot of young filmmakers and media professionals. So I don't cover it over. I'm being totally honest with them, and that's what they need to hear. But I also believe that we need to support them as much as we can and try to help them do the next project, because it's always about getting better and better.
Yeah, and by the way, you're not just referring either to these films that make the theaters, right? Because technically those do tend to be a lot better as in it anyway, because a lot more money was put into them. But for every, let's say in a year, there might be 6 or 7 or even 10 films that make, faith-based films that make it to the theater. But for that, there's another 90 or more that never really make it there. And we got to find a way to support those as well. Usually they're direct to Netflix, or not Netflix, but Amazon or some other platforms.
And for the record, it's the same way with secular films. You see secular films on Netflix and Amazon Prime all the time that never made it to the theater. So it doesn't mean they're bad films.
Right.
It just means that today the market is changing so much that a theatrical release is a very unusual niche now. Yeah. Used to be every film got a theatrical release. Now, not so much. And there's so many more platforms and opportunities. So first of all, get out of your mind that if it didn't make it to theaters, it's a bad film. That's just not true anymore at all. I see films on Netflix and Amazon Prime all the time that never went to theaters, but they're good films. So I think that's an important issue to think about. We just need, Isaac, the thing I think most people listening and watching to this need to do is just rethink how we view film. The world has changed. It's not a theatrical world anymore. Certainly there are going to be Star Wars films and things that come out that are big and spectacular that people want to see. But let me tell you, very often the best films, the most important films, are small niche films that didn't used to have a market. Now they do. Now they can get made and go on an online platform and get seen. So we just need to think of how much the world has changed when it comes to film, television, short videos. And by the way, short videos are the number one marketing tool in America. They're being used more. In fact, last year, watching short videos online exceeded watching porn online for the first time in the history of the internet. So we're seeing suddenly that people are really gravitating to short videos, short films, never before. So that if you're a young filmmaker, I'd encourage you, develop your chops by doing short films, because more and more people are seeing those, and it's a great opportunity, actually.
Wow. So listen, how can people get a hold of you again? I know you gave your email, I believe it was a little earlier. Just say it again so people can reach to you.
Yeah, I'm Phil Cooke with an E, Cooke, so philcooke.com. I'm on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook as Phil Cooke, and our company, Cooke Media Group, is based here in Los Angeles, producing films and television programs. And you can go on my blog and see how to get in touch with me and reach out. I'd love to hear from people, because we're talking about these kind of issues, and I'm so grateful for what you're doing with the podcast, because I think we need to have these conversations in order to move this whole subject forward.
Well, thank you for taking the time to be with us today. I have a feeling I may have to have you be like a recurring guest, because I think people are really going to enjoy these conversations.
Sounds good. I'd love it. That'd be fun, man. Thank you.
Thank you much. Folks, don't go away. We'll be right back.
Sunflowers. To pollinate and reproduce, they turn and face the sun. Nature's way of reminding us that for ultimate growth, we must seek the light. Parables, the leader in empowering entertainment. Parables. Be empowered. Start your free trial today.
wonder if penguins have knees. I wonder how many colors we can't see. I wonder why there's so many stars in the universe. I wonder if we ever looked like apes.
You want to find out?
I wonder if puppies have belly buttons.
Welcome back to Faith on Film. I really hope you enjoyed today's program as much as I did. It was so great getting to talk to Phil. Make sure and write him a little note, let him know that you watched, and give him your opinion. I'm sure he'd like to hear from you. Would also love to hear from you myself, so write me at faithonfilmtv@gmail.com. I had to think about that. faithonfilmtv@gmail.com. Let me know what you think about the show. And of course, check out our sponsors page, parables.tv, a place where you can watch all kinds of great movies, documentaries, fantastic programming for the entire family. So until next week, take care. I hope you enjoyed today's episode of Faith on Film. I pray each episode stirs up a desire in you to support good faith-based entertainment. All who are involved in faith-based entertainment are doing so with a strong desire to provide you with content that both inspires and helps you maintain a good, healthy soul. As you know, just like we feed our bodies healthy food in order to maintain good health, we must at the same time feed our souls healthy entertainment to keep it strong. The purpose of this show is to raise awareness about those filmmakers who are creating this great healthy content and to help you get to know them better. So write me and let me know how we are doing. Simply send me an email at faithonfilmtv@gmail.com. That's faithonfilmtv@gmail.com. To stay up to date on new and exciting events, follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Faith on Film TV. Also, let your friends know about this show and invite them to like the Facebook page so they too can keep up to date on what is going on with Faith on Film. Thank you and God bless.